Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining us in our different space. Welcome to our 4th user group meeting. We're very excited that we've made it to 4. I think we'll be excited as we make it to each one going forward. So for some of you, this might be your first time at our user group meeting. For others, you have definitely been here many times before. So welcome. So I want to get a couple of housekeeping things out of the way. For those of you who have never been to this building, there is free Wi-Fi. So if you want to log in, you want to use your computer, you want to do anything, this is the network you want to look for, and there's no password. So we have people that have joined us online. We think it's about 30 people. Yeah, we have about 30 people online, which is awesome. So for the people online, you can use the chat function to write in questions, and we'll be able to maybe answer them later on. We also are hoping that people who ask questions from the room speak up so that people on the phone can hear, and we'll also try to repeat the questions. So a cool new thing for this time around is that we're going to leave this WebEx open during the breakout session that's going to happen in this room. So for the people that are on the phone, you can continue listening into a breakout. This is kind of an experiment. We're going to see how this works to see if people can hear and if they can join in the discussion in that way. And then maybe we'll do this going forward as well. Thank you. So there are a few people in the room that can answer questions or help you out while you're here. I'm going to ask them to raise their hands. Bob is one of them. Kevin, up at the computer. Casey, who was at the front when you came in. Andy, who's actually out there monitoring our WebEx. So maybe we'll leave him to that work. And Fiona, and me. So the next thing I want to let you know is that we're filming today. And so if there's some reason you don't want to be on camera, just let us know and we'll make sure to not put you on camera. You can ask any one of the people who just raised their hands. Videos and notes will be posted in a couple of weeks as per usual. And we definitely would love to have your feedback. There is a link here where you can tell us anything you want to tell us. We're also going to ask you to fill out a survey in the breakout sessions. So now for today's agenda. So we've gotten through the welcome and introduction, or we're almost through it. Our content strategist, Bob Brown, is going to do the first Ignite talk. I will explain what an Ignite talk is in a couple of seconds. Because most of our users are just starting to build out their promotional pages, we opted to have Bob do an Ignite talk this time around because what we're hoping is that at the next user group meeting or a future user group meeting, people who have built out promotional pages will do one on something that's published. We'll have Fiona Malloy and Adam Cogbill, who is right up here in the front, talk about what's new on Mass.gov, and if you haven't guessed already, it's the promotional pages. And so we're going to talk about how to use them and what to do with them and how to measure them. And then we're going to bring everybody together for a Q&A so that you can ask as many questions as you want to. And then we'll break into our breakout sessions. One will be here in this room, and the other one will be in another room, Tanglewood, which is the room that you walked through to get here. And so these breakout sessions are basically how do you use the promotional page in the CMS, and also why? Why would you use that versus some other content type that we already have? So Ignite Talks. If you haven't been to one or seen one or experienced one before, they are really fast. They're 5 minutes, and they are a presentation where there are 20 slides that advance in 15-second increments. So it's a lot quicker than you imagine. So Bob very nicely volunteered to be our staff presenter on this.
We definitely need to do a better job of recruiting the next time.
Yeah, we want lots of people to participate. So that's where we are. So I'm Mimi Cantor. If you have any questions, you can ask me or you can ask anybody else in this room. So now I'm going to hand it over to Bob.
The origins of the promotional page, the new Mass.gov content type for focused awareness efforts, go back to the days of percussion, before EOTS and PFML became household acronyms, before we knew the singular form of quadruple was Drupal. As if your reports, policies, and programs didn't already sell themselves, Mass.gov authors wanted splashier web pages to call more attention to their content. The standard offerings just weren't cutting it. The terms campaign landing and initiative page were coined and brought up over and over when we met with you. But before we could launch a campaign page, we needed a way for you to organize content and make it easy to find. There also needed to be a way for you to track data on content so that you could measure and analyze how effective it was, so that you could monitor feedback and site visitors and make data-driven improvements. All this came together over the past 2 years thanks to your efforts. Then we got nudged last year by the EOTS HR and recruiting team and the governor's office about making Mass.gov flashier. Enter the promotional page. EOTS wanted a more visually compelling way to promote tech hiring across state agencies and needed a way to funnel prospects to the Taleo job application. Initially, they went outside Mass.gov and built a page using WordPress. That page worked fine, but the EOTS team considered it a short-term fix. They wanted a page that not only looked great, but that was easy to edit. They came to us with a mock-up based on ideas from sites inside and outside of Mass.gov. We worked to understand their page's purpose, what it needed to communicate. Then we looked at what it had in common with other promotional scenarios to understand the purpose that content type had to serve overall. We considered dozens of components. Here's what their Tech Jobs promotional page looks like today. It gives their team a chance to emphasize the human side of human resources through images, video, and links to case studies. While EOTS had the first promotional page in the works, the governor's office published the first. The lieutenant governor had key meetings in the fall with municipal leaders. She wanted to highlight grant information, so her team created content, including an application calendar. But to showcase all of this at the Metropolitan Area Planning Council's annual statewide conference, and to make a clear call to action, they wanted something with more oomph, and that's where the promotional page came in. The EOTS and Community Compact Connector pages are very different from each other. And from speaking to your teams over the years, we knew you'd come up with many more great ideas for this uniquely flexible and colorful Mass.gov content type. The danger in this is that these pages could break the overall site design that you've worked so hard with us to build. So we started giving serious thought to what to call this content type and what rules should be applied to it. We've been informally referring to it as a campaign page since the vision was that it would be time-bound for time-bound promotions. We reached out to a dozen of you to find out what you'd call it, figuring the name could reemphasize the goal of such pages. We ran possibilities such as campaign marketing and campaign landing pages by authors. Most rejected campaign as being too political, and marketing as being too limited. The words promotion and promotional came up repeatedly, so we went with the latter. We revealed the promotional page in December as an early holiday gift and invited you to experiment. But we asked you to take a brief training before publishing because the content type includes very different features like outsized images and a mandatory unpublished date. Sure enough, requests for office hours training have flooded in. And as a special prize, all of you here today will be considered trained by the end of this meeting. They're all winners. The best part of the trainings has been hearing about your plan. Some pages like Mass Wildlife's on the Endangered Species Protection Act's 30th anniversary have gone live. Take comfort in the New England medicinal leech thriving due to this act. Other pages, some in draft state in the CMS, might focus on real ID or a cool tree contest. And don't be surprised if you see us using promotional pages to market future user group meetings. Thanks.
So welcome. I'm really excited to be here today and to talk about our newest content type, the promotional page. Those of you who don't know me, my name's Fiona Malloy. I'm a content strategist and managing editor of Mass.gov. So let's dive in and talk about some of the key elements of the promotional page. A promotional page is a simple landing page that supports a marketing or awareness campaign by state government by conveying a focused message. Visitors generally find it from an external source, such as ads, flyers, billboards, or social media. So it usually will have a friendly URL to direct people to the site. It's designed to create impact through content and visuals, and it's used for messages that stand out from other content on Mass.gov. It provides a focused, persuasive core message, and this usually means having one primary call to action and a small amount of supporting information. It makes a user aware of new information and moves them to take some kind of step, such as clicking through to read more information or to interact with the state organization. And it's not evergreen. It's kept up to date and used for a specific period of time. It's taken down, for example, when the campaign ends or when people are no longer clicking through to take action. A promotional page is distinct from a service or an organization page that it relates to. It's used in addition to, but not as a substitute for a service, a guide, a news, organization page, or some other content type. So what are some of the ways we could use a promotional page? Here's some ideas. Awareness campaigns that call attention to a subject and encourage action, such as becoming a foster parent or getting a flu shot. Educational campaigns that raise awareness about an issue, such as the EEE virus, water conservation, or maybe the coronavirus. Public service changes such as Real ID. And for service changes, it could be either a new service or a change to an existing one. Recruiting to attract talent to your organization. And for things like open enrollment, such as health insurance. So here's some things to keep in mind when you create a promotional page. Photos are really important. Typically, a promotional page is going to have a campaign behind it, so you're going to have photos that are specific to that page. You're not going to be using Shutterstock or something like that. And if you don't have photos that are specific to the page and you need them, we have some people here at Digital Service who could help you out with that. You want to consider how the key message box, and we'll talk about what that is later, how it overlaps the main image, and also how the photos will appear when the page resizes on mobile. You want to know your goal. Your aim should be to drive audiences to read more or take an action. You can set goals with key performance indicators, which Adam will talk about in a minute. And those will let you measure the interactions with your page on a dashboard. You want to keep the page focused. You can have up to 10 sections on one of these pages, but we strongly encourage you to limit the sections to 3 or 4. Keep the message focused. And you want to draw people in, so you want to link to more in-depth information either on Mass.gov or possibly off Mass.gov. Please don't create orphan pages just for a promotional page. It should be linking to an existing body of work or a body of work that you've created for it. The other thing that's new within a promotional page is we ask you to set an unpublished date. That's because they're not supposed to be up forever. So you have 14 months. We ask you to set an unpublished date within 14 months to take it down.
Can that be renewed?
It can be renewed. But what we would expect is that you renew the information on it at the same time, that you don't just leave it up there, that you refresh it. So we're still going to ask you to ask us for publishing rights. Everybody can create a page, but we have to turn on publishing rights for editors. Reach out to us through ServiceNow for access. Just please tell us what you're planning to use it for, but everyone here today, just do ServiceNow and we'll give you access to it. Now, I would like to hand the microphone over to Adam, and he is going to talk about the dashboard and the key performance indicators.
Hi, everybody. I know most of you, but my name is Adam. I'm a product manager here at Digital Service. I'm going to talk a little bit about the promotional page dashboard, which is a little different than our other dashboards. So it's divided into 3 reports, 1 report per tab. So on the regular dashboards, you can click through tabs. That's what I'm referring to as reports. So it's probably hard for those of you in the back to see this, so I'll just read through these. So there are the 3 reports. Each of those reports tries to answer 1 question or set of related questions. So there's the audience report, which is designed to tell you who and how big your audience is. The visitor interaction report, which tries to basically tell you what people are doing when they get to your page, assuming they're doing something. And then the final tab, the final report, is the KPIs and page health, which is the metrics there tell you if your page is meeting the goals that you set for it, or there's a couple other metrics that we're calling page health that are looking for things going wrong. I'll tell you a little bit more about that when we get there. So at the top right of the promotional page dashboard is a date filter. Unlike the regular page dashboards, you can filter using this. So you can look up data by day as opposed to by month, anytime up to 2 days ago. 2 days ago is the most recent data that we have. So the date filter has 2 sort of submenus. There's some default ranges there, like last month or last quarter, or if you go to custom, you can set specific day starts and day ends. Okay, so let's take a look at the reports. So this is the top half of the audience report. This probably looks fairly familiar. You can see page views and sessions by day, and then the total amount for the time range you selected on the scorecards to the right. And the bottom half of this report shows visits by device category, so desktop, cell phone, or tablet, and then what percentage of what portion of your traffic comes from search, from social media, from other Mass.gov sites, and those are usually going to be the biggest. But there is a 4th category for other if you're somehow getting traffic from something like an email marketing campaign or something like that. So I'm glad those showed up there. That's good. The segments are there to give you a way to dig deeper into questions about who your audience is. So for example, you can see that this page gets 20% of its traffic from mobile devices. So that's the really light blue section here. That's the mobile device. However, if I drill into this big social media spike here, so that's this part. So by drill in, I mean change the date filter. So go ahead and do that. So we can see that the device type here almost more than doubles. This is what I mean about using segments to drill into the data to try and figure out who your audience is. In this case, one thing this would tell you is your social media campaign brought a bunch of mobile traffic, and that maybe tells you something about how you need to create your social media campaigns to be thoughtful about all those mobile users. All right, so the visitor interactions report. So there are 2 main things that people would do on your promotional pages. They might click links, or they might watch a video. So this gives you a sense of just how often that's happening. So the chart on the left, and again, this is probably kind of hard to see, but it tells you which links people are clicking. So either the key message buttons or the featured links, which are the, well, actually, probably I'll hold off on the details of that till later for those of you when you get a chance to be more acquainted, but it tells you which links people are clicking on. And on the right, the video interactions, you can see whether people played, paused, and then the percent of the video they watched, and how often those things happen. On the bottom of the visitor interactions report, this is similar to the bottom of the audience report. This is segments of people who acted. So there's visitor interactions by device type, and then visitor interactions by browser. So one way that I find this useful is comparing it to my actual audience. So in this case, again, the mobile devices, this is about the same percentage as people who are actually visiting the page. But you can imagine that if the mobile interactors were a lot less than the percentage of your audience, might be something going wrong with your mobile traffic, right? People are getting there on their mobile phones, but they're not able to actually use it. So I think using those in combination is most helpful there. All right, so finally, the KPIs and page health report. So KPIs, which stands for Key Performance Indicators, are a new feature that you can use. It begins in the CMS. There's a menu that looks like this. You'll select one, but from 1 to 3 of our KPI choices here. When you select a KPI, you'll get the second field that appears here. That'll let you set a goal for that KPI. So this particular one, the click-through rate for key message buttons only, is selected here. And then the author has chosen 20%. So 20% of the people that come to the page click one of these key message buttons. And then once you've done that, you'll have to wait about a day for us to process that. But after you do, you will be able to see in the dashboards how your goal compares to the actual metric. There's not very much data yet because these have not been out for very long and there's not much published. So eventually we'll have a much more interesting image as opposed to like somebody had not picked a goal and then they are partway through the month when they had picked the goal. But this is what it will look like eventually. And obviously if you picked more than one KPI, you would see more than one chart there. Page health metrics are, they're going to be very similar to what you're used to from the regular page dashboards. A lot of the feedback we've gotten from you all is that the generic metrics that we have deployed in the CMS are really good for finding out if something is going wrong and not quite as good for figuring out if the page is performing well. So the kinds of things you might see under page health are things like broken links and readability and no's per 1,000, things like that. And our hope is that if we combine these page health metrics with the KPIs, which you're able to set and configure yourself, that'll give a much more complete sense of whether or not a page is doing well and if there's anything that needs attending to. So as always, we're definitely looking for feedback. I have to say, I think this slide is probably for everybody, but this is specifically for me. I'm interested in listening and hearing how this is useful or not useful to you, what metrics you might want to see on the promotional page dashboard that you don't, things like that. So there are 2 ways to get that information to us. One is to use the feature request board, which I hope everybody knows about. We do check it pretty regularly. And then the other way is just to send us a ServiceNow request and let us know what you're looking for and how it would be helpful. That's always really useful to hear, like how you would use it. Cool.
Thanks.
I'm turning it over to the Q&A panel. So all of us.
So
all right.
why don't you all go up? I also wanted to add one thing that the knowledge base articles on the promotional page KPIs are out. They're published. We're going to be sending an email out later on to this week with some more details.
Okay.
All right.
So we're available for questions, if anyone has any. Yes?
But you guys, could you go back to the promotional page and give us a tour?
That's the first breakout number 1. Okay, so breakout number 1, which is going to be in Tanglewood, is basically how to create it. And so I have created some dummy promotional pages, and we're going to sit there and go through what it looks like and what it is on the back end and what the different components are. And so that will be in Tanglewood. The other breakout session will be in here, and that's going to be more about why would you use a promotional page and also KPIs. Adam will be here, and he can talk to questions about that. And the way we have it set up is we'll do it for about 20 minutes, and then you can switch, so you can go to both breakout sessions. Yes?
It's hard to figure difference between the unique preview and then just preview or new user come to the website. Wonder in the report I can see that the numbers like unique preview instead of
Unique
number,
page views?
Yeah, number instead of a number hit on the web page.
Yeah, so sessions is the same thing as unique page. What's that?
Can you repeat the question?
So the question was, can you see the difference between all page views and just like individual unique page views? And the answer is yes. So the sessions metric is the same thing as unique page views. So you can use sessions for unique page views, and then page views just means page views. Do you want to actually go back to the I think it'd be easier if I could point at what I mean. Yeah, here we go. So total sessions is the same thing as unique page views. Total page views is page views, and they're actually both in this chart. It just so happens that they're almost the same, and so it's kind of hard to tell them the difference, but looks like the total sessions is the purple one here, so that's the same thing.
Anything else we can answer?
Does it also count the previews if someone previews it without actually opening it?
No, yeah, this would only be if somebody looks at it on like www, like on the front end of that, yeah.
If we have a campaign, but it's an annual campaign,
Yep.
whether it be a week or a month, maybe this is in session 2, but is this the right content type for that? And then separately, part of me says, should that page and content even be up when it's not, in our case, emergency preparedness month in September, so that even if someone is looking for that information in November, trying to figure out when it is next year, that page is not hidden? I don't know what the right answer is, but I'm just sort of curious what the feel on something like that is.
So what you could do is you could do a promotional page for the month
Yeah.
and then take it down after the month and redirect whatever URL you've used for that to the material that it was pointing to. And then the following year, you could bring it back up again. Do you know what I mean? So you
I
could
just didn't know
unpublish
that
it.
if someone in December wouldn't be able to tell when is preparedness month, because our evergreen content is always there.
Right.
Then we have something up for September saying, hey, it's preparedness month, go see A, B, and C pages. But if we took it down, then throughout the rest of the year, no one knows when that month is.
Unless you have it on your evergreen
Unless
pages.
somewhere else.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I mean, a promotional page definitely could be used for a seasonal campaign, and it could be something that you publish up and then bring down, and then the following year bring it up again.
We have a question from the chat. The question is, where can you link promotional pages on existing pages in the CMS? i.e., which page types can they link to?
It's very limited because the idea of promotional pages is a campaign is bringing people in from outside. But you can link them in the Mosaic on an organization page, in news content types, and I think that's it. Yeah, and events. You could also link them in events. So if you have, some big meeting that's coming up and you do a promotional page for it, you can link it on the event. Yes.
For social media, if we had a promotional page, we
Yeah.
wanted to post it on social media, is there a way to, is there a way to just hide it instead of deleting it? So once the month is, so we have foster care month. Once the month is over, people can still go back to that promotional page, but it's not populated, so prominent on our website. Is that possible?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could just not link it anywhere and just have it floating there, have it floating in the CMS, yeah.
Well, if you do that and then you unpublish it later, you might want to go back and update those links, otherwise, in the social media posts, so yeah.
Yeah. Anyone? Don?
Right, it could be a good idea to allow for this to be linked on more of a variety of Drupal pages, because somebody could be on an info detail page and see a link to this and learn about it that way as well.
Yep.
So just food for thought. I think the more flexibility you give people, the better.
Okay. We will keep it in mind.
Please do.
Yep. I mean, this is, we're rolling it out to see how it works and to see how you all want to use it, so.
I mean, I've been using Drupal now since its beginning, and I know just every agency is different, and
Right.
Nobody knows our website better than ourselves, and the more flexibility we have, the better.
Yep. Point well taken.
Thank you.
Yep. Anyone else? All right, well, let's do a quick break, 5 minutes. We're going to set up in here for a breakout session. So the breakout session in here will be, why would you want to use one of these pages as opposed to another content type? And also we can dive into the dashboards a little bit. The breakout session in Tanglewood is going to be basically how do you create this? What does it look like in the back end? What are the different things you can use? So thank you.